Good afternoon. My name is Joseph Lloyd and I source cars for people on a professional basis. Although most of the cars I source are between £1,000 and £5,000, very often I've been asked to show something a little bit cheaper on the channel, and so I came up with No Budget Reviews, the series where we look at cars that you can buy in good condition with an MOT for under £1,000 and you can enjoy driving. We don't film this in an expensive manner, we don't use separate microphones, we don't use dual head tripods, we don't even use a DSLR, but we do have a lot of fun. Back in the days when the channel only had one review format, which was not no budget reviews at all, it was tweed jacket reviews, I did film an Audi A4 of this era as a 98. It was a pre-facelift one, and years later, well over 3.5 years later actually, we have this A4. It's a 99, it's a facelifted, what's called a B5 A4. This car shares the same platform as the contemporary Volkswagen Passat, and actually the Skoda Superb was also on this platform, although this is not as long, I don't think, at all. It is a bit of a smaller car than either of those. I'm afraid the low winter sun is not particularly helping the video. I'm afraid that's just what we are going to have to cope with today. I think this is a very handsome design, considering when this car came out, it was actually early 1995 in this country. It was launched at motor shows in 94, but it came out early 1995. The thing is about something like this is because the design was up to the minute and maybe even slightly ahead of other designs of this type. I mean, things around at the time would be the W202 C-Class and the E36 BMW 3 Series, which both look considerably older than this, I think, now. This just actually was influential in the future generations of A4 and things like that, so it looks a lot newer, I think, than it is, particularly a facelifted one like this. Now, this car isn't perfect. You can still pick up a B5 A4 for under £1,000. This car was under budget. It had a bit of work done to it since, and it's done 155,000 miles, so you can't expect it to be perfect, and of course it isn't. But I think this colour does suit the car very well. I'm very grateful to be offered this car by Jahan, who's one of the channel viewers. So again, it's a very kind of contemporary for the time interior. I think this is a little bit different from the earlier B5 A4s. Most of the changes under the skin with these happened at about 97, 98. The sort of facelift on the outside mainly occurred, I think, early 1999. So this SE model is quite highly equipped. This stereo, of course, is completely not contemporary of the car, just you know, don't get too focused on that. But we do have climate control in here, which is fantastic. It works quite well. It actually sort of sprayed dust all over the dash when I got in, which was interesting. Obviously the fan is working just fine. And do we have a very nice... Yes, we do have a very nice action ashtray. Look at that. Certainly if you were taking someone into Audi showroom in 1995 and showing them this, they're probably likely to be quite impressed. Now, it's not perfect. There are one or two sort of nastier plastics and things around, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all, really, particularly the age of the car. Electric mirrors, electric windows. This is the SE model, so it's a little bit higher up in the range than some of the others would have been. There were actually only 3 trims available for a standard A4 of this generation. There was the just like A4 1.6 without a trim level, the SE and the Sport. This is an SE, which is a bit more luxurious. What I'm trying to work out, and I've been asking Yahoo who owns this car whether he knows, is are these parking sensors actually standard on the car? Are they something that would have been fitted as maybe an option or something, or are they aftermarket? They look very well integrated into the car, so I'm not really sure. Yeah, we do have a bit of lack appeal on the alloys, but it's a very old car this now. It's a 99, so what did you expect? One thing the E36 BMW and the W202 C-Class didn't do particularly well was rear space, and this, it's a little bit better maybe than some of those, but it's not that great. It's a bit tight. Yeah, it's a bit tight. I have to sit like this, aren't I? I remember when I did a German exchange years and years ago in Bavaria in 1998. My host's family actually had one of these B5 A4s, and I remember, even though I was only about 15 at the time, thinking how cramped the back was. And well, it is. It is a bit cramped. Yeah. So look at the materials on the door card. It's actually not soft touch plastic. I was expecting that, but it's not too bad. It's okay. This material's quite nice down here. The rear actually windows is good. This armrest, I used to drive that A3 I mentioned to one of my friends, because back in the day of getting cars sold for review was, well, it's whatever your family and friends could provide you with. And I found the armrest the most annoying thing. I always used to get rid of it because pulling the handbrake on is quite difficult if you've got the armrest, but a lot of people like them, so that's probably why Audi put one in. Let's see if we can put this up without the light being terrible. Actually, it's not too bad. There we go. So, do we have a centre armrest, viewers? I think we do, and I think we're going to have a look at it. Just pull this down. Oh, yes. Move this bag out of the way. There we go. Those. How do you get these cup holders out? Or are there any cup holders? Or are there... There's no cup holders in this armrest. Viewers, I have a first world problem. I've got no cup holders in my armrest. Doesn't seem to be a ski hatch either, which is surprising. I thought that'd be one of those in a car like this, but never mind. Got these nets on the back of the rear seats are quite handy though. Right. Okay, let's get in the front. It's probably a bit less cramped in there. I wouldn't say this is the most suitable thing as a family car. It seems to be tricky to get in and out of the back. Let's try the front. That's better, viewers. Actually, so I'm just sitting here without actually doing anything, but armrest is quite good. Let's try the door pockets. Excellent. Ooh, and do we actually have a glove box capable of secret Russian documents? No. No, we do not. Oh, viewers! Why does this always happen to me? Never mind. Have we got anything inside this armrest? Not really. Yeah, seats feel okay. I prefer leather seats, viewers, but never mind. We've got front and rear fog lights in this car. Wonder what that does. Maybe that's traction control or something. Let's see what this cup holder's like. Considering this car is 23 years old, that cup holder action's not bad. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, there's 3 vents. Let's have a look at the centre information display for the driver. Right, view. It's dead posh, isn't it? We've got what John Davis from Motor Week would say a full complement of instruments. We have a voltmeter. We've got an oil temperature gauge. I would like an oil pressure gauge, but I'll take what I can get. That's brilliant, isn't it, viewers? Really good. Yes, it is really cold out here, and yes, it does need a service. But very modern looking instruments for 1999. I think that's rather nice. Let's turn that off so we don't have to hear those fans. It's an aftermarket stereo, so we won't look at that too much. The lights are actually on this stalk here. I don't know why that is. That's like an old Ford Granada or something like that. Headlamp levelling display there. I don't know why they couldn't just put a little knob there like everything else. The A3's got one there. And then the door locking button is on here, just like in A3. That's like that. Right, I suppose you better take a look at the boot, and we'll also have a look under the bonnet. Weirdly, the button for opening a boot is touch sensitive. It's interesting. You sort of press it like that. That's advanced, isn't it, for the time? So we've got a bit of work going on with this car. Remember, we just flip that down so maybe we can lift up the boot carpet. Ooh. I think some glue has come undone under here and it feels a bit nasty. Let's just pick that up. Ooh, viewers, a full-size alloy spare wheel. Oh, yes, please. Excellent. We're clearly still in that sort of era. And yeah, you can fold the seats of this car as well. That's pretty fantastic. Oh, an LED bulb in there. It's probably been changed later. Warning triangle, of course, in there. That's very practical and very Teutonic. What's in here? We have a first aid kit or something in there. Ooh, we've got something interesting now. A toolkit. Very nice. Another toolkit as well. 2 toolkits. Oh, and another light there. It's brilliant, viewers. I'm very impressed with that. The boot's not got the biggest aperture, but not many cars in this class really did. I think my Revo 45 V6, which was on sale for the last year of the B5 A4, probably has a bit of a larger aperture, but most cars wouldn't. Let's have a look under the bonnet, shall we? Now the struts aren't the best, or rather the strut, it's only got one. It's not the best in this car, so I'm just going to stand back quite a way just in case that comes down. I'm going to be standing away from it if it does. So this is Audi's 1.8 5 valve per cylinder 4-cylinder engine. That's a bit of a mouthful, but yeah, 5 valves per cylinder, 4-cylinder engine. In this case, generating about 123 horsepower. This is the normally aspirated version of the engine. There were 2 turbo versions of the engine available in this country anyway, with the B5 A4. Obviously, this engine was used in a whole load of other cars, Seat Leons, and I think it was used in the Mark IV Golf GTI and loads of different Volkswagen Group cars of the time. I thought this might have the ubiquitous Volkswagen Group coolant reservoir, which went right the way through to kind of 2017, 2018 from the birth of the A3, but because this is an engine that's completely the other way around from the A3, that is based on a Mark IV Gold platform, this is based on the B5 Passat platform, it does have a different coolant reservoir, and it doesn't look like it's the easiest to work on either. I think these engines have a cam belt in them, so that's going to be interesting when you want to do that. It's a bit tight at the front as well, so yeah, not the best access I've ever seen. But nevertheless, we've got interesting things in here, like an ABS pump just there. Is that the same ABS pump as we always find? This car just had a new washer bottle for some reason. I don't know why that would have failed. Power steering fluid's actually there, and the battery's hidden under the scuttle panel just there. Right, let's go out for a drive, shall we, viewers? Very strange to think of this car being on the same platform as the contemporary Passat and then later the Skoda Superb, but that's what it was. This gearbox, for example, doesn't feel like any contemporary Volkswagen gearbox I've used, and maybe it's because it's not. Most of the Volkswagen cars I've driven from this era are front-wheel drive, but with a transverse engine. This car doesn't have a transverse engine. It's actually a longitudinally mounted engine, which is interesting, which means you could fit different things like V6s and other stuff. The original Audi A4 wasn't necessarily the most luxurious car when it came out in 1995, and the engines do reflect that. There was a 1.6 which generated 100 or 101 horsepower depending on the exact model year, and then the next engine up was this 1.8 which generated 123 horsepower. That then led into the very famous turbocharged 1.8, which generated either 148 horsepower or 178 horsepower, which depends on the model year exactly. In the Audi TT, that engine developed up to 225 horsepower, of course. There were some V6s available as well. There was a 2.4 V6, which generated 163 horsepower. That was available after 1997. There was a 2.6 V6 available before that, which developed 148 horsepower. I don't know why you want the V6 if you've got the 1.8 turbo with the same power. It's really strange. And then we've got 2.8 V6s as well. It's rather like the Skoda Superb that I drove, which actually had one of those in it. That generated 172 horsepower and later 190 horsepower. Then we get into the really crazy stuff. The Audi A4, a 2.7 V6 with 261 horsepower, and the RS4 with, again, a 2.7 V6, which generated 376 brake horsepower, but was only available after 1999. There were also some diesels available, but as usual, due to controversial government legislation and all kinds of other reasons, we don't talk about diesels on this channel. Just accelerating away now up to the national speed limit. The engine feels reasonably punchy. I think 0 to 60 in this car is around the 10-second mark. Feels very smooth. This gearbox is a little bit on the worn side. I mean, it's a pretty old car. It's done 155,000 miles, so you can't expect it to feel like it's absolutely new. Let's put the lights on with this very peculiar little stalk here. It's very weird, isn't it? It's obviously remnant of some older Audis. If you were to put somebody into the B4 version of the 100 and put them into this, they would find it is quite familiar. It's obviously an evolution of those old B4s, and then before that the B3 that was very similar. And again, they had this slightly peculiar engine layout. Yeah, it feels very smooth, very sophisticated. The ride's quite soft in this car. If you were to drive an S4 and RS4, of course it wouldn't quite be like that, but in this normal SE version, it feels good. I feel like I could drive this car quite a long way with virtually no discomfort. So it's not the fastest or maybe the most exciting car in this form, but it is nice and comfortable. It occupies that sort of space where someone was maybe looking for something the same size as an A6 or a 100, and they didn't want something quite that big. They wanted something a little bit smaller but had that feel, and this does feel like that. If you compare it with something like I don't know, a Jaguar X-Type, which was on sale about the same time at right at the end of B5 production, then that probably feels a little bit more refined. But yeah, it's nice. It feels quite relaxing, actually. Lloyd Vehicle Consulting stickers, t-shirts and mugs are available by clicking the link to the Google form in the video description below. Sorry about the lighting views, it's the best I can do at the moment. So the B5 Audi A4, is this a car that you should consider with your hard-earned budget of up to £1,000? Well, if you can get someone who's willing to work on one of these for you, I imagine there'll be quite a few people with still relatively common car, considering the Passat's the same platform as this, then I don't see why not. The rear is not particularly spacious. The Passat in that regard is a lot better than this, and I can see, you know, various bits of kind of problems with trim and things like this in this car, and you do get rust on these. It's not particularly bad for a car of this age, but you do get it. Then yeah, you just got to watch the things like that. And also, if you've got a nice full service history on the car, the cam belt's been done, and it's just been generally well looked after, that will make things considerably more pleasant for your Audi ownership experience. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching this episode of No Budget Reviews. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this and leave a comment below. Thank you to Johan for providing the car for review. You would have seen earlier on in the video an email address if you wish to submit your car for a review on the channel. But please do get in touch, and we shall see you again soon for more inexpensive motoring.